All right, so we're officially recording. Just real quick, let me just turn my video on so everybody can see that I'm a real person and not a robot. So, guys, all right. So, real quick, what's going on, guys? So I'm out here with my dog Drew, Mr. Drew Sosa. Hey, is that your actual last name, bro?
My what? Yeah.
So your real name, your full name is Drew
Oh
Sosa,
no, no, no. Oh, you said no. My real name Andrew Newton.
Andrew Newton.
Yeah, like Isaac
Damn.
Newton.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, bro. No wonder you're smart. You came from Isaac Newton, huh?
I'm related. I'm actually related to Cam Newton. Like on my dad's side, his uncle is actually what? No, his granddad is actually my uncle.
What?
Yeah, dead ass.
Okay,
I was blown.
okay.
I heard that shit.
All right, so family ties is heavy. I feel you.
For
All right,
real.
so where do you currently live right now?
I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, born and
Okay,
raised.
live. Nice. And how old are you? You're like you just turned 21, right?
Yeah, just turned 21 like 2 weeks ago, yo. October 23rd, shit.
Word, word. And what do you do besides being an entrepreneur and trading?
I mainly just do a lot of like right now I feel like I'm more so still in my like beginning stages of my prime or whatnot, just more so doing like actual like research. I want to really be somebody that's more so like actually educating the masses. I feel like I'm more so my best friend calls me an influencer. She's actually a professional network marketer herself. And she actually calls me more so like an influencer because I'm always teaching the masses or whatever, just always spreading some type of knowledge or whatnot. But I mean, I used to be really major and heavily, which I'm finna start back in there. I used to be really heavy into like drop shipping or whatnot.
Hmm.
That was actually the original niche before I started trading actually. So if I wouldn't have known about trading, I would have still been doing drop shipping. This was like back in like 2015, 2016 or whatnot.
Nice, nice. And that was drop shipping was like your first introduction to entrepreneurship, or were you ever part of like a marketing company before that?
Uh, I mean, if you want to take it like say officially into entrepreneurship, I want to say like, I mean, I feel like my mom's always told me I've always been an entrepreneur since I was like a youngin. Because I mean, even when I was in like second grade, I used to mow folks' lawn for like $20. And like when I was in seventh grade, I was actually the only candy man, like the snack plug or whatever, at my school or whatnot.
Right.
The
I used to do that
entire
too.
the entire process of it was like was low key kind of mind blowing when I really think back to it. It felt like an actual business because I was at Costco. You know what Costco is, right? Um,
Yup, yup,
Doing the
yup,
stamp. You know how they got a lot of wholesale stuff there. I was in seventh grade.
yup.
Y'all. I was out there with my mom. And I said I seen a box of Skittles, 36 bags in there for like $17 some change. And so I was like, hold on, wait. So I'm real good at math. That's been my best subject. So I was like, crawling. But like I did the math. I was like, hold on, wait, I can sell these for $1 and make like double my money. And so I told my moms, hey mom, can you buy me these Skittles and I'll pay you back on Friday? This is on a Tuesday. And she bought me the Skittles and I ended up paying her back the next day because I sold them all them shits out like literally the exact next day. Because there was no other Candyman at my school because it was like brand new built that same year I went. So and like after that, I was just like scaling that shit up. But like official network, like to entrepreneurship though, I want to say I really want to say yeah, drop shipping probably was the very first like introductory portion to like actual entrepreneurs to I'm actually seeing like some type of income. I was in high school, yo. Like this was like the end of my 10th grade year going on to my 11th grade year or whatnot. And I used to see these few guys like on Instagram. This is before they started like doing like selling all these vendors lists and like having these like major courses on like Amazon and shit. But I was just doing like basic stuff. I ended up like figuring out like where to find the vendors or whatnot too, because I was always itching to always make some money. It's just like it's like crack to me. And so like I pretty much hit up this guy that was like a vendor or whatnot, and like he was selling like authentic designer clothes, shoes, bags, whatever you can get your hands on. And I seen the price. I was like, bro, like this ain't like these prices is like dirt cheap compared to like what's on like the websites. and at the stores. And so I used to like just I used to either like, have just have them take pictures of it with like my name on it or something like that, or with like my
Hmm.
name card or something like that. And I used to just like resell them on Instagram. Because back then there wasn't too many people doing this shit on Instagram. It was only like a really small amount of guys that was like a designer plug type shit. And I seen their price, so I kind of like tried to match their prices in some cases. And so I used to pretty much just resell the shit or whatnot while the demand and the demand for knowing how to and just doing drop shipping was pretty much low. And so like, I used to make bank. I used to like I was in like my 11th grade year where I would just start to make like damn near 1,000 a week in some cases. I was in 11th grade. and and
Right.
my first network marketing company was what was it
I
called?
mean, we don't have to drop any names. We don't have to drop any names, but you can just tell us like the year that you started and what got you into it.
Yeah, so I started doing drop shipping back in like I think this was like I want to say this was like let me see like 2015ish, yeah, like 2015ish or whatnot. And this was like around the beginning, so somewhere middle of that year or whatnot. But
Hmm.
I got into network marketing back in January of 2016 or whatnot.
Hmm.
And it was one of those that a lot of us, like you said, we ain't gonna drop no names, but a lot of us probably know exactly what it was in most cases because it was really like hot or whatever back then. And
Hmm.
but it was like just somewhat different to me at the same time too. I never really fully like been a person to more so like try to build a team, I guess you could say, or like really be just like highly into like that type of sales in some cases, to where there's
Right.
actually like a commission side to it or whatever. I mean, it was somewhat kind of simple back then at the same time, but I was like, it's not really just like me, at least. So yeah,
I feel you. I feel you. I mean, we both have a similar upbringing because I can relate to your story about being, the plug for the candy because I used to do the same thing. I used to go to Sam's Club and buy, the packaged chips, blow pops, Skittles, all of that, and just resell them. So, like for us, for me and you, we have that entrepreneurship in our DNA, kind of.
yes
Um,
sir.
it's literally in our DNA. And I mean, even when I was in elementary, I used to make like paper airplanes. I used to draw flames on them and sell them for like 25 cents. That was in elementary school. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's not something that no one ever taught us how to do it or what to do. It's just something that came naturally.
yeah,
So I definitely feel you on that. Now, besides drop shipping and network marketing, you're also in the army, right? Or
yeah. Like I joined the army like the week before I found out about trading. Literally a week before.
okay,
I was sick. But I mean, I joined it just to at least back then. This was like I joined in January 2017, and
2017, okay.
like, but it had been like it had came to me because it was weird as hell because I never really just like seen myself joining the army type stuff. It's crazy because I remember my pops used to always tell me like, if you want to go to school, you can, but I said whatever, and then he was like, but if you want to join the the military or whatever, you like that's an option too. And I used to always be like, nope. I used to shake my head real quick when I was a youngin. Now look at me, my dumb ass in the army right now. But
So
like,
what made you join the army?
uh, so like, so I originally took the ASVAB test or whatnot my 11th grade year actually, but that was just to get out of class though. And so it was weird because there's actually a math part to the a math section on the ASVAB or whatnot, and I didn't try at all on the entire test or anything. But the math part of it's like I don't know if you can kind of relate to this, but like it's like the math portion of it, just like it's like something that always like triggers me. It's like whenever I see it, it's like I gotta just do it just because it's so damn simple in some cases. You see what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
like and like when I really just like took it or whatever, I was like kind of I guess like I did A1 on the math section, which made me pass the ASVAB. In order to actually join the army by itself, you had to have a 31 at least for the National Guard. And you had to have a 31 on the ASVAB. I had a 33 on the ASVAB just because I scored really high on the math section of it. And at the time, I was actually thinking about going to school for business or whatnot. because at first I originally wanted to more so um be like a barber or whatnot. Yes, I do know how to cut hair, and like I had really low. It wasn't like I really wanted to at first. It was just because like my folks used to push the shit on me and my sisters and shit, and like I was just like what, fuck it, I'm gonna just go too, blase whatever. And so, but like then when I actually got into it, like in the army or whatever, I was in 12th grade. It's like the beginning of my second semester, and next thing you know, I went to after I joined, the week after I joined or whatnot, like enlisted in. I'm in the National Guard, so we originally had something called RSP, which is when you pretty much, because I didn't leave for basic training until August of 2017, but before that, everything you got to go to this thing called RSP one weekend a month. It's like a pre boot camp training thing for just that one weekend type stuff to see like make sure that you're ready and prepared to go. And when I went to my first, and I was like, bro, I cannot do this shit. I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. And like I said, I mean, the week after, I ended up pretty much. I seen one of my homies, my homie Wale, and like I seen that he was trading or whatnot. I seen like the pictures he used to post or whatnot. So I used to be like, damn, like shit, what is this man doing? You feel me? So I hit him up. I was like, yo, like what you do? I mean, hey, everything just went great from there. You feel me? I never went to school though. That's the crazy part about it. I joined to go to school, but I never even went to school, and I really don't even think I really have a reason to go back. To be honest.
Okay, okay, cool. So were you a part of JRTC while you were in high school?
Nah, I had no thoughts about the army while I was in high school, at least before my 12th grade year.
Okay, okay, all right, cool. So you're still in the National Guard, right?
Yeah, I only go 1 week in a month now, and just 2 weeks of training out the year or whatnot. So, I might
Are
well
you
just
uh
get through.
are you on like a contract or something, or can you leave whenever you want, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a contract. It's a contract. It is not easy to get out the National Guard or whatnot. If I wanted to get out, I had to get like a medical discharge. I mean, I had to like end up getting hurt, like real hurt or something like that. And I don't want to get out that bad. You feel me? And I get out in January 14th, 2023, which is like it seemed like a while away, but I mean I'm already almost 3 years in, so I mean
Right, time go fly by.
yeah, it's gonna fly by. Yeah.
All right. So real quick, before we get into trading, what have you learned from joining the army?
Uh, it really, honestly, if it wasn't for me, this is why I really do not regret joining the army. At least, just because it actually more so helped like strengthen up my mindset at the same time, and also help discipline me and help me actually be able to more so just go through. It gave me that extra push to be able to know that when I start something, eventually I can finish it eventually throughout time type stuff. It gave me that extra confidence or whatnot because and at the same time, when I left for basic training, it was in August 2017. But like about like 3 weeks before I left for basic training, my brother died or whatnot. He got killed he got killed on in July or whatnot. 16 bullets to his chest. And like that hit me heavy because and then it's wild because imagine having to lose your brother and then having to go to basic training like a few weeks after that. You feel me? And so like it was really tough for me because like I always had like the random moments in basic training where I would be like, I just like beating myself or something and just like really just start thinking about it in most cases. But like, I mean, if it wasn't for the army and like the few people that was actually around me in there too, that I still call my brothers to this day or whatnot, I most likely would not have even went through and finished basic training or whatnot, just because it's all a mindset thing or whatnot. When you start something, you can finish it when you telling yourself you can't finish it. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, yeah, damn. I'm sorry to hear that about your brother, bro.
Yeah,
Um,
appreciate it.
Dog, man. But yeah, I'm glad you got all those experiences. And at the end of the day, it's like you got your own personal development from the army, and it definitely helped. And I'm sure you've gotten a lot more discipline, strengthened your mindset, and I'm sure you carried that over to other endeavors that you've already done and it's going to do for the future as well. So transitioning over to trading, you found trading in 2017, you said, right? From your boy Wale.
Yeah.
All right, cool, cool. So was he like the first person to teach you, or how did you start learning how to trade?
Yeah, he was actually like when I first joined it, because he was actually in a company at the time, which we're not gonna say any names about the company either. But like he was the first one that really just more so bring me to it, and he more so just showed me the different like beginning basis and the tactics to it or whatnot. And but a lot of stuff I really just more so had to just like learn as far as like really just furthering my education on it, just really just getting heavy into like I am today or whatnot. I really had to just like more so dig deep into it or whatnot. I really just had to like watch a lot of stuff, really just test out a lot of things in most cases. But I mean, yeah, when he brought me to it, it's like back in January 2017, and like throughout that time, I pretty much told myself, because I want to say January of 2017 was more so my learning year in most cases, just because like that was when I officially like really got like heavy into entrepreneurship. To what I told myself, I was like, yo, I'm finna get this shit down before I leave to go to basic training. And the thing is, even when I left for basic training, we couldn't have our phones with us. And so I didn't want to just forget everything while I was in basic. So what I used to do was I had an actual journal or whatnot. And my journal actually what happened? My journal actually more so was like I used to write down like notes that I remembered at least or whatnot, and actually like somewhere in some cases I actually draw out like just as if I was actually drawing out a chart or whatever on my like in my journal in most cases, like on my free time when I had some, just to kind of like refresh my memory on like just the beginner basics or whatnot.
Okay, cool. So what would you say is like the first thing that you learned? Did you learn, I mean, besides the basics, did you learn technical analysis, risk management, psychology, or fundamentals? What was the first thing you learned?
Technicals. That was well, basic technical. Let me say that. That was the very first thing I learned just from trading.
Okay, cool. And your first account, did you try stuff out on demo first, or did you just go straight into live account?
I know I was demoing from January to August. Left, didn't have my phone. So yeah, from January to December, I was basically demoing.
So that was all of what, 2018?
2017.
That was all of 2017. Word. Okay, so all of 2017, you were demoing, you were playing with your technical analysis, and then you said what, 2018 you went live?
Yeah, I went live on December. What was it? December 19th or 20th, one of those days, 2017. I never forget it because when I first
Damn,
went
you
live,
went live because
yeah, I
that
put in
that's like when the market starts slowing down.
Yeah, it wasn't even just that, yo. Like it was just like the entire feeling. You know this, the entire feeling of going live versus
Right,
demo is a whole different scenario. You feel me? I'm talking about your emotions are rattled up just because it's actually your money. You see what I'm saying?
right.
And
Facts.
like when I first went live, y'all put in $500. I was still in training at this time too. My first fuck up, my first red flag. I was still in training, and it was a different type of training where I had my phone back. I put in $500. The next day, I made $170 profit off of UJ, and I
Hmm.
was hyped. You feel? I'm like, oh shit! I made my first 170 and just my first day. You feel me? I was hyped. I'm
Right.
like, I'm finna make me I'm finna try and turn this into like another 5K in a week. And so I was hyped, and boom, next day after that, I blew that account down by like what 400 something dollars. You feel me? So
Yeah. Did you
yeah.
did you know did you know like proper risk management at that time or no?
Oh no. Nope. I didn't know nothing about risk management at all, literally.
And I'm guessing you also didn't know about fundamentals or psychology, right? It was just pure
Fun,
technical analysis.
I never even knew what fundamentals was at this time, literally.
Right, right, okay. Okay, okay. All right, so now you're down to maybe like what, 100, $200 in your account. From there, how did you start navigating more? Like what did you tell yourself? Did you tell yourself that I need to go, study more, or I should just stick with it, or I should go get a mentor? Like what was your thought process? How did you transition from that into like trying to evolve more?
So that was the iffy thing. I was being stubborn at the same time because I was like, because when I got out of basic training or whatnot, I had some money on me. You feel me? Just from being in training or whatnot with the army. So I was like,
Right.
bro, like I can stick with this, blase, whatever. And it's like, it would be a legit repeating process. And I was being stubborn at the same time, stubborn, greedy, all that. It would be a repeating process to where, I made, some money on this one day and I would blow that shit like 2 days later. It's like taking 2 steps forward to get knocked 10 steps back. You feel me? And so like within that same time, I was taking signals. Uh, I actually had an account manager. I actually even tried out a EA, an expert advisor, and just like I blew my account in all types of ways or whatnot. And I like biggest mistakes ever, for real. And like this was an ongoing process for like 3 months. So like just from those account, like just from in my account by itself, I've honestly I probably do like about like a little over $8,000 in like 3 months. That's not even including the money I spent on like education. You feel me?
What was where did you get your education from? Besides
Uh,
besides the company you were a part of, where did you start getting more education from?
I'm about to say, 'cause that company, I was still having the subscription going even while I was in basic training. So that was like a good, close to like about like probably close to 2,000 just from that one company by itself. And I was just like getting it from like a few videos that was being taught to me. I was actually in a few. I actually used to purchase a few other guys' like courses or like their little programs that they made or whatever, they little training or whatever that they pretty much made. And I really just started to notice that like, yo, it was like this exact same shit over and over again, basically. Just explained
Right.
different in most cases. So I'm like, yo, like something going on, you feel me? And I started realizing I'm like, I need to do this I really need to just try this on my own or whatnot, legit find my own strategy. So I started just after those 3 months, I took a whole break off. I hit up my homie. I was like, yo, like you ever feel like you just like had to take a break from me? He was like, yeah, but he was like, yeah, bro, I do it all the time. And so I took a break off for like an entire week. I deleted MC4. I deleted everything that got something to do with trading on my phone. Just took my ass for an entire week, yo. And
Jeez.
after that week, because this was like around the end of February. And so like at end of February, beginning of March or whatnot. So the week after that, I pretty much dedicated myself to using that entire week, that next week to really just dig deep into like finding my own, strategy just based off of, the small little piece of technicals that I knew or whatnot. And
Right.
I started pretty much figuring out a few little loopholes that I kind of like found out by my own. And like excuse me, I want to say the week after because I wasn't working a job. That's the thing about it, I never worked a job before. I always feel like I never had to in most cases, and so at the same time I wasn't making as much bread, and so I was still at my pop's house too, and so at the same time I started to more so go through it and just like I went live, put my last $500 into an account the week after I was doing all that practice. I'm talking about barely any sleep throughout that time. Like that entire week was like barely any sleep, bro. Like I probably got like a good like 2 hours of sleep every single day for that just that one week. I was just going really like full on into it. And the week I put my 500 into it, and the next thing you know, like from the middle of March until like around close to the like middle endish of April, that 500 turned about 4,500. I was like, oh shit. Like I'm like,
Right.
damn, this is my first actual, profitable month. You feel me? So
Right.
like I was hyped, you feel me? I was just like, but I didn't get too hyped at the same time too. I had to go to another part of training with the army or whatnot for like a month
Mhm.
after that. And like when I got back home, I did the exact same thing or whatnot, and like just profitable month or whatnot. And so I got like I was
All right.
already out of all these different companies, I deleted all them signals chats, all them fake ass account managers and all that shit, and I was just trading by myself, pretty much like independently by myself without anybody else there for like a good, I want to say like 4 or 5 months basically. And this is just
Okay.
straight about.
All right. So you went completely independent. You started doing better. Let me ask you, what did you start doing differently besides taking signals, besides following other people? For you personally trading on your own, what did you start doing differently that helped you to start becoming more profitable with after you started studying that you didn't do your first time around when you blew all the accounts?
It was the way. It was more so the way that I was actually like doing my actual technicals. Because one thing I was noticing from like the few I was actually just looking at or whatnot was just like I wasn't really just going off my own shit or whatnot. I always just like trade signals or whatever, and that was just like straight up BS in my, I guess you could say. And so what I really just did was more so just try to master it myself. So what I did throughout that week at the same time was there was actually a guy that did signals that was actually more accurate with it, and he actually showed like his markups with it. And so I used to at first I used to copy his like just like when at the beginning part of it, like beginning of 2017 ish, but when I take it back some, I've been in more so of his stuff, and I was like just viewing like like just to kind of understand what the tools were on MT4 at least, and because I was trading strictly off of MT4 or whatnot for pretty much the majority of like 2017 throughout like first half of 2018 or whatnot. But some of the
Mhm.
tools that was on MT4 was also, some of the ones that were on TradingView, but I still kind of got used to both of them in most cases. And so what I used
Right.
to do, like after I wanted to really just go deep into it around like, like February, March of 2018 was I used to, if you were to post like an actual, like when I started seeing my own results or whatnot from like the small little simple strategy that I had back then was just like I used to pretty much see whatever pair he was like he marked up or called a trade on. I used to go back to the charts and I used to go off of I used to mark it up how I seen it, like how I marked it up or whatnot. And if it was the same, if it was like if I seen the same thing as him, then I go with it. If I didn't see the same thing as him, I still went with my own markup or whatnot. And of course, in some
Right.
cases, you're not gonna always win every single one of them or whatnot. But as I started actually winning more and more and more, being more accurate, I want to say my confidence really just boosted the fuck up when I started seeing like results come from my own markups that he started to fail on in some cases. And so like it's really the biggest thing too was actually just getting my actual confidence up to actually be able to trade and mark up on my own or whatnot and go based off of my own analysis. You feel me? So yeah.
Right. So you started trusting your own self more, your own analysis. But before that, you knew somebody that was a trader that did good, but before you used to take signals kind of blindly, but now you transition into doing your own research and kind of aligning that with their signals. And if it lined up, you start taking their trades, and from there you started getting more confident by seeing your trades playing out, and that's what helped you to go completely independent and just start trusting yourself completely. So let me
Yes, sir.
ask you, when you started trading, what kind of a trader were you? Were you scalping? Were you swinging? Were you intraday trading? Like what was your
I
what was
used
your
to
trading technique?
I used to be an intraday trader.
You used to be an intraday trader. Okay, cool. And you were strictly at that time just strictly trading off of technicals, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you look at the trend, you see market structure breaking, all that good stuff that we already know about on technical
Yeah.
analysis. Now, what was your at that time, if you remember, what was your risk per every trade, or did you not know about risk then at that point either?
I didn't even like have risk back then, yo. Like legit, I didn't even have risk, yo. Like I was just feeling like I was starting to become like so more accurate back then, and it just started to like I ain't gonna say I used like stupid risk or whatnot, but I used to go based off of like it used to be like a micro a micro lot for every $100 in my account in most cases. Like I started getting the actual just simple, small, whatever risk management or whatever. Like I want to say like the month I came back from the training in 2018 or whatnot, and I was just sticking to that or whatnot. But like as I started just to more so scale up, because one thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to grow my account, because the thing is what I started really just seeing was the fact that you're not really gonna you're not really gonna see, the will be able to risk, not even just risk a lot. You're not gonna be able to see the actual, like the big numbers or whatnot when with a smaller account in most cases, unless you're over leveraging it. And so I
Right.
had to stop over leveraging myself. So my risk it started off messed up, but it started kind of going down like later on. Now I actually have my own legit set risk management.
Right. So, I mean, obviously that comes with the territory because when you have a smaller account, especially for us traders, we kind of want to see those nice side profits, like $5, $10, $50. It's like, yeah, it's some money, but it's not really gonna do much for you. But at the same time, with a small account, like that's kind of how you gotta grow it. You gotta be more consistent with making those type of returns.
Yeah,
Um. Okay. So, have you so now, for your risk, you were also going off of, what the company used to teach us, which is like basic, it's not even the real way of doing proper risk management. It was kind of basics.
yeah,
But from there, I'm sure you started learning how to use proper risk management as far as determining your lot sizes based on, your stop loss and your risk percentage, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So from there, let me ask you, did you have any problems with what a majority of traders face, which might be like, I mean, over leveraging is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of traders face. But
Yeah.
besides that, I would say, did you have any problems with over trading or and being impatient?
I it's funny. I never had a problem with being. That's why I'm able to be a swing and position trader now because I never really had an actual problem like just waiting on my trades to come about or whatnot. Like patience has never really been too much of a problem for me just because like I had to pretty much learn patience while I was doing drop shipping. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of traits that I gained from just from drop shipping kind of fitted in with trading a little bit. But I never really had a problem with patience or whatnot and like as far as my risk, I mean, like I said, it was messed up at first, but then I started kind of gaining over time at least. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And what about over trading? Did you ever like over trade? Maybe you over traded on too many pairs, or you opened up multiple
Yeah.
positions on like a losing trade. Did you ever have any of those problems,
Oh yeah.
challenges?
Oh yeah, yeah. When I started gaining that confidence, yo, like I just wanted to trade everything. Legit, shit, I want to trade everything for real, for real. And I mean, I mean, up front, because you're gonna feel so confident to like you're gonna be like, bro, I can trade anything. You feel me? But like over time, like it's not even like that, yo. You for real, it's not even like that. So, but yeah, I used to overtrade. I used to just like trade pretty much almost any and everything in most cases, which comes with like in most cases greed or whatnot. Trading pairs I never really just laid my eyes on before or whatnot.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. So when you were an intraday trader, did you have like a specific trading routine? Like, did you only focus on, let's say, the New York session or the London session, or did you just hop in the charts whenever you felt like it and you saw it set up, you just took it?
Yeah, it was mainly like that. See, back then I used to stay I used to stay up for London session overnight, and I stay in Memphis Central Standard Time, and so like London session wouldn't start until like what was it, like 2, I want to say like 2 a.m. my time or whatnot. So I used to stay up late for London session or whatnot, and but I mean it didn't really matter like what time it was for me to be honest. Like if I seen the setup, like you said, I just take it. I used to stay up a lot though, for real. It
Did
wasn't
you
too
did
much.
you have a favorite did you have a favorite pair that you were trading?
Yeah, back then, I want to say before gold came in the picture. Back then, it was GU and GJ.
Nice, nice. Okay, cool. So how did you transition from being purely, like a technical trader into starting to learn about fundamentals? What brought about that curiosity? What brought about that knowledge? Like how did you transition? Why did you transition?
Okay, so like I feel like almost everybody probably went through this exact same phase too. Every pro did. Like as far as like when you start to get it down pat, it's like you want to learn more at the same time. When you start to get that
Yeah.
actual confidence, see those profits come in or whatnot, it's like you want to learn more as well too. And I started figuring out because I remember I used to see like the little news events or whatnot, like on the economic calendars, and like I never really just like full on knew what they really meant. All I knew is that like the what the high impact ones was, the medium and the low impact ones or whatnot, and like I wanted to more so dig into it or whatnot just to kind of get a better understanding of them. So I used to go on YouTube, at least when I first got into it. I used to get on YouTube and I started looking up things about like NFP or whatnot. My first time trading NFP, like I didn't trade it live. I like it was more so just like a guessing game back then, I guess you could say. But I used to trade NFP. That was the first fundamental thing I used to get into. or whatnot. It's not like I know it now or whatnot. But like I used to get into NFP and I want to just more so learn more about it. And like when I was watching this guy's video on YouTube, and oh, like, what is he like? You know, I don't know what none of this stuff really means. Some of the terms were kind of familiar or whatnot, but I was like, I don't know what this man talking about. And so I started just like really digging into like understanding the fundamentals, because I was curious. I was like really itching to learn more or whatnot. Because I mean, you can never learn too much. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's no limit to
Right.
knowledge or whatnot.
Facts. Okay, cool. So I mean, yeah, I can definitely relate with you on that because that was kind of like my main reason why I started learning fundamentals as well. Because once you've gotten down technical analysis, risk management, and psychology, it's like you want to keep learning more, and from there is like just like you said, I knew about NFP first, and I knew that it was crazy volatile because I started trading back in 2015, and NFP back then was had the market going like
Oh
100 pip and like freaking
yeah,
like
yeah,
like one candlestick on the 15-minute chart, boom, 100 pips on both directions. It's like fucking crazy,
literally.
right? So I got into like fundamentals. I want to say like 2019,
Yeah,
simply because my last like 3.5 4 years, it was strictly just mastering
yeah,
that. But for both of us, it's that passion in us because once you see the results that you can get from trading, and you see the lifestyle you can get from it, you see the freedom you can get from it. It's like there's really no other financial vehicle out there that's going to give you everything that you kind of want, like Forex does.
yeah,
And so it's like that passion kind of drives us to master the craft. So it's like once you start learning about NFT, then obviously you start learning about like what is unemployment, inflation, interest rates,
yeah.
um, you know the everything that deals with economics from a micro and a macro perspective.
Mhm.
So for let's say for the brand new trader that's starting to trade off, that's starting to like learn how to trade, what advice would you give them when for the brand new trader that's like coming in to shorten their learning curve, to save them a lot of money, to save them a lot of time? What would be three main advices that you would give them?
Number one, get just it don't matter how much you trading with, get down risk management. Literally, like that would have saved me so much money. That would have saved me so much money back then, yo. Like risk management is the key to trading. Literally, like actually having a trading plan up front is really just like the biggest key. Of course, you want to learn the basics of it or whatnot too, but like risk management is like 100% like key for real, for real. Being able to actually just after you learn how to calculate your lot sizes and like understand pips or whatnot, like get down your risk management. Me personally, I always trade based off like percentages or whatnot, and like like now like when you grow your account at the same time or whatnot, like it doesn't matter if you was trading based off like $1,000 and you doing like 1% risk to make like 3% gains or whatnot. Like that 3% may be $30 on a $1,000 account, but when you grow that account up to like 100K, that 3% gonna be about like $3,000 in most cases. You see what I'm saying? Like just in all case scenarios, stick to risk management, because even if you lose your trades up front, you're not gonna lose a lot of money up front when you have actual risk management. That's number one. Number two, understand fundamentals before technical. This is what I wish I would have did up front, is fundamentals before technicals, because what I ended up learning was that yeah, technical analysis is great or whatnot, like no lie, but when you first come to a chart, it doesn't matter what chart you go to. When you first look at a chart, you never 100% fully know like what direction a pair is finna go into for that day or for that week or for that month, basically. So, and the thing that fundamentals does is it tells you what to trade or whatnot. Like let's say for example, we're hearing something that's going on about like US and China trade wars going on or whatnot. We're hearing something about like the US and China just had an agreement or whatnot, and they agreed to take off tariffs or whatnot. we know that's going to do, at least up front, that's going to do some, some positivity to the dollar up front. And so we're knowing, we know to what to trade. We know we can trade, we can sell gold and we can sell silver and we can buy the dollar in most cases. You see what I'm saying? And we can, in most cases, uh, what, buy GJ or something. You see what I'm saying? Or buy UJ in most cases. Like, we know what to trade now. We know why to trade it, because you can know what to trade, but if you don't know why you're trading at the same time, that kind of makes it pointless in most cases. But that's the whole point of fundamentals or whatnot. When you're reading through these actual, articles or whatnot, then you're going to actually be able to know exactly why, because history always repeats itself. So now you know what to trade, you know why to trade it, and you even know how to trade it, which kind of goes back to the what to trade in most cases. Because when you know how to trade it, I'm saying, like, how such and such currency or commodity or stock, whatever, is finna get affected or whatnot. You know how, like, what direction it's gonna go in, etc. So number number two is to get those fundamentals down packed or whatnot. Number three is to I want to say, really just get that psychology in your head up front, to realize that you don't, like, trading every single pair is not like the biggest success or whatnot. Like, you want to this kind of goes back to that, to number one, about risk management in some cases, with big stuff. But like, you want to create your own trading plan or whatnot too, because, like, regardless, like I said, it kind of connects back to number one in most cases. But you want to really just stick to a trading plan. Just sticking to, like, I know I know my main pair I'm finna trade is gold and silver, and pairs like GU in most cases. So I can just, I know what fundamentals, I know what micro and macroeconomics I can really just stick to when it comes to trading these certain pairs. I know what my risk management is going to be and what profit margin I'm really just looking for when I'm trading this pair or whatnot. And, just sticking to an actual trading plan or whatnot. The technicals can come right after all the important stuff, at least, because technicals ain't gonna do nothing but just pretty much verify where you're getting in at. So I mean, number one, risk. Number two, fundamentals. Number three, actually sticking to a trading plan.
Okay, so we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into those three subjects. So for the first one, as far as risk management goes, let me ask you personally, what is your risk per trade?
1% every single time.
Every single time, 1%. All right, cool. And what is your what is your minimum risk to reward ratio that you look for?
1 to 3 every time. I'm a swing trader.
All right, lit. And okay, so all right, cool. So that answered the first one. Now for those of you guys that are watching this, if you guys don't know how to use proper risk management, or you don't know about risk to reward ratios, like you said, like you said, that's one of the major important things when it comes to trading. So if you guys actually want to learn how to properly do that, you can hit up Drew, you can hit up me, you can hit up your mentors if they know how to do it properly. But definitely learn that. So for the second one, as far as fundamentals go, learning fundamentals. Let me ask you, what would you say is the most leading fundamental indicator that you or anyone should pay attention to?
The leading fundamental indicator. I
Because
really.
I know we can pay attention to GDP, manufacturing, inflation, central bank policy, political situation. We can look at trade balances. We can look at a variety of different economical indicators. But in your perspective, what would you say is like the leading that you should pay attention to?
Yo, you are not lying. It is so much, but it's crazy because they all tie together at the same time.
Right. And,
Like,
and this was a question that I've been racking my brain about trying to figure out, because I thought about manufacturing, because if manufacturing is going up, then that means later on GDP could go up, and the labor markets could go up. So for me right now, it's kind of like manufacturing, I would say, is like the leading,
mm,
but at the same time, like you said, it's a factor. Everything kind of factors in together. So
literally.
for me personally, I haven't been able to find like that one leading indicator to pay attention to the most, but I just want to see if you had something like that.
I don't want to say like one indicator, but I can say multiple ones. Like you said, more so manufacturing. The people don't already know what it is or whatnot. We know that manufacturing is pretty much, the production of, products being made basically within like, you know, a certain economy. So I mean, when like you said, when you're having a higher manufacturing, that means more things are pretty much being created, which also pretty much ties to the fact that, you know, consumers are spending more in most cases, and they're buying more stuff. So more stuff's being made, more exports are being shipped out or whatnot. We're having starting to have somewhat less imports. But I mean, like, I want to say manufacturing is one of them. I can't really just like say one. I can say a few at least. Like manufacturing is one key factor. Um, the well, shit. I want to say even the overall labor market or whatnot. Like, you know, how many jobs are coming in, like, you know, are being made, like, which is what NFP is telling you or whatnot, and like, you know, unemployment rate. I want to say even like jobless claims in most cases, just like the overall labor market or whatnot. So the overall labor market, manufacturing as a whole, pay attention to interest rates at the same time or whatnot. See, there's different key factors that tie into interest rate at the same time. But pretty much one thing about it is the fact that everything ties around interest rates at the same time. I ain't gonna dig too deep into that at least, but everything really ties around to the direction that interest rates are gonna go into in most cases, and then monetary policy. So like interest rates, I want to say, and trade, and honestly trade balances at the same time, to be honest, when you're able to see like what's really going on as far as trade or whatnot, like for example between like the US and China, or like with US and Turkey, or US and the EU in most cases or whatnot. So like if you actually understand like what's going on more so as far as trade, like trade deficits or whatnot, then you're gonna be able to see like, you know, um at least ahead of time, like, you know, how many more imports are being, you know, are being brought to us, and how many more exports are being shipped out in most cases, being able to actually understand. And the thing about it is that when you're seeing um, more exports, you know, being shipped out from us or whatnot, which means we're having more so of a trade surplus, then, you know, that's pretty much showing that we're having a stronger economy, which kind of ties back to, you know, manufacturing. When you're seeing, you know, higher manufacturing, you're going to see, you know, an increase in labor in the labor market as a whole in most cases, which means you're going to see the unemployment rate more so start to make its way right on down or whatnot. More jobs will be added in most cases, and they said, and then you're going to end up seeing interest rates start to, in some cases, interest rates more going to like start to make its way right on back up. So I mean, I want to say interest rates, manufacturing, what was I said, trade, and the labor market as a whole.
Okay. And just to clarify for all of our listeners, the reason we focus on all of these is because we want to see which currency of an economy is having more demand. Because as demand increases of a currency, the value of that currency is going to rise. So that's why we're paying attention to, you know, exports and imports, you know, trade balances, you know, the labor market, the economy as a whole, because that's what's going to let us know if our currency is having more demand, or if we're supplying our currency to another country to, you know, get their currency, and that's going to cause their currency to increase in value. So that's why it's important why to pay attention to fundamentals, because the supply and demand, it plays a major factor in currency valuation. A lot of times, you know, traders that don't know about fundamentals, they just go on the charts and they think, you know, it's really technicals that are causing the currency value to change, but it's really fundamentals that is the driving factor of currency value to change. The charts are just showing you what's happening after the effect has already happened. So what I like to tell my students is that fundamentals is the leading analysis that you should be doing, and technical analysis is the lagging. Because what you see on the chart, it comes after the economy has already started making different, what do you say, like different moves. If that makes sense.
I'm gonna even say, I also forgot to add this in too. You can add in inflation, which also
Interest
goes
rates.
back to like interest rates, manufacturing as a whole.
Right.
Shit, in some cases, even the trade balances in most cases. So,
Facts.
inflation does have a massive role into it, because one thing about it is the fact that um, the thing that people really need to understand too when it comes to macroeconomics is that is not to fully stick to what you see on, excuse me, it's not to stick fully onto what you see on the actual economic calendar, but to really just more so have those actual, sources on the back ends or whatnot, those actual news articles or whatnot, those news sources to more so read back on, or even like go on like a central bank's website to more so see like what's really fully going on as far as like, because there's a lot of things that people don't even know about. Like with the repo market, in most cases, you're not going to see things about like the repo market on just the on like economic calendars in most cases, and like you're barely gonna see it on like the actual front line like front headlines of like a news article or whatnot. Like people don't even just understand that, you know at least currently or whatnot, for right now at least, like people don't really just understand that, like, there's so much money being pumped into the economy as a whole, the markets as a whole right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows that the Fed just bring in over $60 billion just this morning by itself. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's also a cause to inflation, because when you have so much money being, like, newly printed money being printed out, you're gonna have an over, like, a later on effect to where prices start to pretty much rise, which is what inflation is. But what they also don't really realize is that inflation is also the devaluation of currency. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
you have a devaluation in your currency, you're gonna have less purchasing power. When I say purchasing power, I mean, like, it's gonna be harder for, $5 today to buy a 5 bag of Skittles to compare to a month from now, to where you can only buy 3 bags of Skittles for $5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's pretty much what it means by like a decreased purchasing power. So it's a lot of stuff that people need to more so read on, that's like even off of like actually even off the economic calendar or whatnot, to really just more so dig into to see what's really going on in the back end. So yeah.
And the thing with fundamentals is that it's kind of like technicals where you can't just rely on one factor to give you, that solid setup. You gotta have confluence. You gotta look at multiple factors and then kind of tie it all in together, and that's when you should be able to take your trade. Because if two things line up and the other couple things don't line up, then you might still be wrong. So that's what we talk about. We start going into high probability setups and things like that, because you need multiple confluences when you're trading. And even if you're looking at fundamentals, technicals still do play a factor in how you said it earlier, as far as catching an entry, because we know that institutions, or if you want to call it market makers or whatever, they know that majority of retail traders don't know about economics or fundamentals. So they like to fuck around on the chart and still, throw in quote unquote those stop hunts, which is, for me personally, it's just priced in behavior for institutions to get better prices. But since retail traders don't know that, they end up taking a lot of unnecessary losses, simply because they don't wait for those movements to happen before they start taking the trade. Now, that's something that you would agree on.
Very 100 and 1,000%, because you're gonna see, like, it also goes back to the original question, like, what are the top three things too or whatnot, is to really understand, like especially as a, I want to say it's harder for people that have already learned how to trade like a retailer to actually understand how an institution trades or whatnot, like how a institutional trader actually, views the markets or whatnot, just because we already have an input in our head, how to trade like a retailer. You see what I'm saying? And so,
Right.
like, the upfront terminology from an institutional trader is going to be somewhat easy, but to actually implement that shit on the charts or whatnot is going to be the part that's actually going to hit a little bit harder than it would for somebody that's like brand new to trading. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because what people don't know is that these market makers, they can see stop losses, because
Right.
they trade against spot FX traders or whatnot. Well, in other words, retail traders. So they see those stop losses, they see those stop points, and they call those. They actually even have certain areas or whatnot, certain levels that they pretty much have their entries based off of, to where they actually do something called, like you said, a stop point. We call it mitigation, which is pretty much when they add in a shit ton of liquidity into the market to pretty much push that candle up a little bit higher to get a better entry. But those same entries are going to be where a lot of those stop points are at or whatnot, or a lot of
Facts.
those like early buy stops or sell stops or whatever are pretty much at or whatnot, to where they pretty much just trigger them right out of the markets in most cases.
Yeah, no, I mean there are different terminologies for it. You know, you can call it stop hunts, mitigation. I like to call it pricing and behavior.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, that's once you've been a retail trader long enough, you'll start to notice that my stop losses are getting hit, but price is still going in my direction anyways. That was one of my biggest things when I first started trading because I used to. I mean, there was a lot of blind spots when I first started trading, but one of those was placing tight stop losses and catching the wrong entries. And next thing you know, my stop loss gets hit, but price goes in my direction anyways, and that left me frustrated. I'm like, yo, like what the hell? You feel me? But
Yeah,
once you start learning, about stop hunts and all of that, then you're able to start applying more patience to when you think you should enter to now being more patient to letting those stop hunts and stuff play out before you catch your entry and then trading in line with smart money, aka institutions, market makers, whatever you want to call them.
yeah,
So that, I mean, when it comes to like trading forex, there is a lot of little details. It's not even about the big details; it's about the little details that can truly make a big difference in your trading. Because I know that when I first started trading, I didn't know that I could move my stop loss to break even and into profit. So because of that, I ended up giving back a lot of profit. I ended up taking a lot of losses unnecessarily.
hmm. Literally, yo. Like, it's gonna be so much that, like, because I was even when I was trading independently or whatnot, I would see like, of course, we're not gonna trade 100% or whatnot. So like, there would be those few moments to where I would see that my stop losses would end up getting hit in some cases. And but I always learn from my mistakes at the same time, which is one thing that traders really need to just take advantage of is to when they take a loss, they don't want to pretty much be like, like damn, we got hit, no, on to the next one. Like you really want to be able to go back and really just view over to see what the hell you did wrong. You see what I'm saying? You really want to go back and just see like what your mistake was. What was that you missed out on in most cases? Because in some cases, those same exact areas that you got stopped out on, the market might just push right back into the original direction that you were expecting to go in or whatnot. You just got a little bit too early in most cases, and so like it's like there's always a learning cycle to everything you do in life. So I mean, like just go back and be able to learn from your mistakes is like the biggest key. But at the same time, just to be able to actually become a great trader.
Facts. Now, when you were growing your $500 account, to 4,400, I'm sure you grew it even more. Let me ask you, did you add any additional funds into that account to kind of help, bring it up a little bit faster, or were you just always focused on your trading profits only?
I was legit like my first time when I first like had my very first profitable month or whatnot. I used to set like a small budget for myself at the same time to where like I only take out a certain amount for like my important expenses or whatever and like just the important stuff or whatnot. And so like I took out like $2,500 of that and I just stuck with it. I just stuck with whatever was in my account and like every single month I would be taking out 2,500 or whatnot. I skip May because I was going for training. June or whatnot came up. The entire month of June, I made a profitable month like that. And eventually my account ended up being into a 5-figure account or whatnot. And I want to say even like around my like I want to say the dumbest thing I ever did was on my birthday of last year or whatnot. Actually like a few days after my birthday of last year to where I dropped my first 10 standards. It was on a 20, I think it was like a $25,000 account, if I'm not mistaken. 10 standards on a $25,000 account. That means every single pip is a hundred
A hundred
dollars
bucks.
per pip. Well, depending on what pair you're looking at. And I dropped it on gold. So I had a very tight stop loss. And it was
Oh
at like
shit.
it was at 25 pips. That's way too tight for gold. And I was actually starting in profit. I wanted to catch 100 pips because I knew I can easily catch 100 pips off of gold. And I started off in profit by like 10 pips. It went to like I was in probably like a good like 1,200 in like just a matter of minutes. But the thing is, I was sticking to like my eyes were glued to my phone. But boom, next thing you know, struck back down and hit my stop loss. It's like boom, I lost 2,500. That was my biggest loss in one day back then. And so like that's why I always like preach to people about risk management, is because
I
it plays the biggest role not only to your trading but to your psychology at the same time. Because when you have small risk management, it's going to pretty much draw you. You're not going to have as much full on focus onto your MC4. Just looking, keep on constantly, set your phone down. 5 minutes later, you're looking right back at your phone to see if you trade it. Setting it back down again. 5 minutes later, you're looking right back at it. It's like an ongoing process to where you just addicted to looking at it. And the thing about trading is the fact that you want to be able to, it's about freedom or whatnot. And freedom also consists of time freedom. So you want to even when you're making money on your own time, you don't want to be glued to what's making you money at the same time like that. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the biggest thing that trading can actually do for you. You don't want to be stuck on the charts all day long or whatnot. You want to be able to set your trades in and just wait for them, whether it's in a few hours or a few days, even a few weeks to even a few months in some cases. You feel me? Like you want to be able to just like, of course, it's cool to monitor your shit, but like not to be on them all day, every day. You see what I'm saying? Because that's how you know you're using bad risk management. You feel me? And that's gonna always mess up your confidence at the same
and
time.
I
Because literally,
and and I agree with that 100% because before I learned how to use proper risk management, I used to always hear, more advanced traders talking about you should know how much money you're going to lose before you even enter a trade. And I used to think like, how the fuck is that possible? Because when I enter a trade, I'm always glued to my fucking phone watching it because I want to be able to make sure like, yo, I'm not going to, blow my account or take a loss. But once I learned proper risk management, I'm able to open a trade, set my proper stop loss, and go to sleep with complete confidence because I already know how much money I'm gonna lose if I do take an L on that. So that right there played a big factor in just me having more peace when I'm trading. Because otherwise, like you said, I'm always just watching the charts. I can't even go do nothing without looking at my phone because I'm always scared about taking a big L or
yeah,
blowing my account. Now, as far as your trade on gold, the you say what 25 pip stop loss, right? Let me ask you something. That 25 pip stop loss that you put, was that because of was it a proper stop loss behind market structure, or was that stop loss you placed because of your maybe a over leveraged position?
yeah, that was a over leverage trade. That was like that was really, even at that moment, was where I really figured out that I really need to just stick to, like, really just have a legit trading plan in place at the same time, that legit, so like precise risk management. Like after that same day, I really just stuck to it. And so what I did was I actually, because there's actual calculators online or whatnot. They like a position size calculator. I used to use it with my FX book or whatnot. They have something called a position size calculator that pretty much, like, excuse me, you pretty much are just putting in, like, your account balance or whatnot, and telling how much, percent wise that you want to risk or whatnot on this one trade, and what your stop loss is. And boom, you just press calculate, and it's going to tell you, and also what pair you're going to trade at the same time. And it's going to, boom, it's going to show you, you press calculate, it's going to show you at the bottom, what your lot size should be. It's going to say standardized right next to it. So it's going to pretty much tell you what your lot size is going to be or whatnot for that same pair. And even to this day, I still use it or whatnot, just to maintain, to make sure that, because I want to say even the hardest part is even just to, even when you're trying to risk by percents at the same time, you're not going to be that much of a mathematician or whatnot, to where you can just automatically just know on top of the head, like, okay, this, I know I'm going to risk 1%, so I know this is how much I want to risk or whatever on this trade up front. When I could just go back to, this calculator that does it for me in like a matter of seconds. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say that was really what helped me and still helped me to this day, as far as like maintaining my risk or whatnot for every single position I take, at least.
Now, okay, so let me ask you this, because you're good at math. Me personally, I suck at math. But well, I mean, I suck at math. So for you, did you figure out the formula to get the proper lot size before you used the calculator, or did you like just go straight into the position sizing calculator?
Yeah, I just went straight to it or whatnot. because I mean, after you already figure out like what a pip is and what a lot size is, etc. And I mean, it's that's a simple part to it or whatnot. And like when you're placing your trade in, all you're really just doing when you go to that calculator is just telling you like it's literally doing it for you in most cases. I mean, in some cases, I actually do like when it comes to certain pairs like gold or whatnot. I actually do somewhat know the equation that goes for it or whatnot. Like you just figure out like, okay, this is my stop loss or whatnot. So like I know I'm willing to risk 50 pill. Let's say I got like a $10,000 account or whatnot, and 1% of that is $100 or whatnot. So I know I'm willing to risk $100 on the same trade with a 50 pip stop loss or whatnot. So instead of me, I mean, like I somewhat can remember the equation, but like I started learning that a little bit after the calculator. So yeah, like the calculator just
Yeah,
more
yes.
personally.
So my story with that, I have never in my life used the position sizing calculator. How I fell upon proper risk management. It's a funny story. I don't know if it's appropriate to share on here, but anyways, one night I smoked a joint and I was going through my trades and I was trying to figure out how to use proper risk management. And something in my brain just clicked. And like I said, I suck at math, so I have no idea how I even like came up with this equation, but it started working. So like you said, if you have a $10,000 account, you want to risk 1%. That means you can only afford to lose $100 per trade. Let's say you have a 50 pip stop loss. The only thing you got to do is take 100, divide that by 500, and you get your lot size. It was really that simple. And once that clicked in my brain, bro, my entire trading, changed. And I'm pretty sure you can relate too. There's been a lot of instances for me evolving as a trader where I have had a lot of those aha light bulb moments. And once you have that light bulb moment go off, I swear to God, you're never gonna go back before that. Like your trading is gonna completely change. Like you're only gonna continue getting better once you start having those light bulbs go off. And that's why we tell everybody like, yo, be actively engaging in trading because you never know when you're gonna have that aha moment. But if you're not actively engaging in trading, if you're just treating it like a little hobby and you're not taking it serious, you're never gonna fully get to those aha moments that's gonna help you evolve as a trader. So that right there was a very big factor for me. And I'm pretty sure you can relate too, because once you learn proper risk management, it's literally impossible to blow your account unless
Literally.
unless you over leverage or you don't have discipline or even or something I've experienced for me like blowing an account in the past is what I like to call death by a thousand cuts, and that's like you using proper risk management, but you just continuously taking a whole bunch of little losses, and that ultimately equates into a very big loss. So I've experienced that for myself as well. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever had that
Like
experience.
like a losing streak. Oh yeah, that's happened me a few times. That's normal. That's normal though. Like I feel
Right, right,
like
right.
every professional trader has went through like had those actual losing streaks or whatnot. So where like they probably like lost like for the week or whatnot, or they lost like
Right.
for a month or whatever. Like I feel like everybody probably went through that in most cases. So I mean,
And
that's how you know you're doing good in most cases when you actually have because that bounce back. That bounce back is something serious. Let's say
right,
that
fact.
that bounce back is something serious.
Now the thing with the losing streaks is that's why you have to use proper risk management because if you're only using 1% per trade, that means you would have to take what 100 losses in a row for you to blow your entire account.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to let's say you only did 10% risk per trade. If you did 10% risk per trade, you would only have to take 10 losses in a row before you blow your account. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why that risk management plays a very big factor because I've talked to a lot of traders, a lot of professional traders, and they've told me that you can have up to 20 losses in a row. So you want to be able. Now, I'm not saying that you will or you should, but you can have up to 20 losses in a row. But if you're using proper risk management, you're still going to be able to be in the game. Your account is still going to be able to trade another day, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why proper risk management is very important. And the thing with that is that this is where psychology comes in because now when you start taking losses, you want to make sure that you don't start revenge trading. You don't start increasing your leverage to start making that money back. So then we start going into the topic of psychology and how important psychology is because
Yeah.
a lot of times, like me as a new trader, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, is when we first started trading, when I took a loss, I was trying to make my money back by getting into the trade again. by risking a little bit more, and those are all very bad habits.
Yeah, literally, literally.
Um, and another psychology uh realization I had was what I call euphoria trading, which is when you had a series of winning streaks. And when you've been winning for a while, then it's like it kind of gets to your head, and you start thinking you're better than the market. You start getting overconfident and cocky, and
Yeah.
then you start risking a lot more. And I did this, and I actually blew $3,000 in one day because of that. Because because I started having so many wins, and I started thinking, man, like if I can make this much money, let me make more and just risk more because like I got this, like I'm the shit. You feel me? And that right there is something to also watch out for. When you start having a series of wins, you want to make sure that you still stick to your trading plan and your system, and you don't start letting it get to your head.
That is exactly what. That's exactly that euphoria trading. That's exactly what happened with me and when I blew 2,500 in a day off of gold because I was having such a strong winning streak. Because that matter of fact, that was probably my first that was probably like my first major L because my birthday week last year, I made about what was it, $8,000 just within that 1 week or whatnot. And it's like the very next week after that, I pretty much just blew that shit by like 2,500. Well, I didn't blow it, but I just lost 2,500. And so like that was like damn. I just lost like a quarter. I just lost like a quarter of my account. You feel me? But
Right.
like I mean,
Facts.
like that's definitely something like discipline is definitely like a really major factor to it at the same time. But like even like just when you like you said earlier, like no, when you once you have that risk management set in place, you can like there's no going back, coming back from it or whatnot. Like legit shit. Like it's also why it's also even important to just understand your own trading plan and just have like understand what risk reward ratio actually is at the same time. Because how I look at it, I explained this a while ago too. How I look at it is like even if you are on like somewhat of a losing streak, you can even like that losing streak is only somewhat limited in certain situations at the same time too, because if you have like let's say for that week by itself, you traded, you've had 10 trades for that week. Each trade you risk 1%, and like I said, mine is a 1 to 3 rate risk reward ratio. So that means I'm risking one to make three or whatnot. Small gain, big profit, and if I were to out of those 10 trades, I lost five trades or whatnot, I lost 5%. But if I this is if I broke even or whatnot. So if I lost five, I lost 5%. But the other five that I won type shit, I pretty much gained, 15% because 3% of 3% times
Average.
five
Facts.
trade, that's 15%. Do that simple
Right.
math. You broke, even though you broke even, you lost the same amount that you won. 15% minus 5%, that's still
Facts.
10% for that month. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a legit, like math to this at the same time in most cases. And in some cases it starts to get easier. Like the thing about trading is the fact that it gets easier every single time, especially when you're learning from it at the same time too. Like every single loss you take, like it's always going to be a learning experience or whatnot. It gets easier. Like it's not easy, but it gets easier over time. You see what I'm saying? And like, cause everything repeats itself. Everything repeats itself. Whether it's on the charts,
Facts.
whether it's fun, whether it's economically, or even if it's just psychologically, everything repeats itself, literally. And it's all just the factor of like how how you take it the first time to just recognize it later on or whatnot, to where you're just gonna easily just capitalize off of it. Because I mean, I remember one time I heard it was a guy on Instagram that actually said this perfect quote. He says that he doesn't have losses. He has, what did he call it? He called it he says it's a he pretty much paid for a lesson or whatnot. He has
Right.
paid
Facts.
lessons or whatnot. That's what he calls it.
Facts.
His losses aren't losses, they're paid lessons. And I was like, yo, that is so perfect, yo, because like it's like when you go to college and you pay for college to learn, like to be a nurse or something like that. You feel me? Like you legit, once you take that L, you lost some money, but when you start learning from it, that's still a paid lesson. So I'm like, yo, that is like the smartest thing ever, yo. So
Facts.
yeah, yo,
And
like
and 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 one thing I want to add to that is that just because you took a loss doesn't mean you took a loss. Because let's say you lost $500 on one trade, doesn't mean you really lost $500 because the next trade that you make, you can make back 1,500. That means you just make your money back. So unless you completely blow your account, your money is not gone. You just lended it to the market. You can always get it back.
Exactly.
So that's just but the thing with that is that it's like you lend it to the market to kind of teach you a lesson, and you can carry that lesson and make your money back. So that's pretty much how I look at it. But because I know that in especially in like the social media world or whatever, people tend to make fun of you just because you took a loss. But that comes from like an amateur mentality, because
Yep.
every professional knows that losses are part of the game. You're not going to be 100% right all the time. But as long as you have proper risk management, proper risk reward ratio, proper money management, you can always keep growing your account, compounding your account. So you're gonna be good. So just don't be discouraged, just because you took a loss, because at the end of the day, losses are it's just part of the game. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. It's just
Um,
like that's just like when you like because I used to have my own signals group like earlier this year or whatnot, and like my trades would be like on point or whatnot. But like it's like when you have that one loss, people start crying, and it's like, and you got to really just think to yourself like, yo, like how much were you even risking on this trade to
right,
like
facts.
blow that same account? Because even if you're going through a whole entire winning streak, and if you have that one trade that blows your account, that's not the signal caller's fault. You see what I'm saying? Like that's your fault because you have really messed up risk management. You see what I'm saying?
And that's also comes with the bad mentality from the signal taker perspective, because that kind of goes into euphoria trading, because people that are taking your signals, they see you constantly winning, and they're like, yo, I know this man's gonna win, again, so let me just risk more, and that might be the trade that you actually take a loss on. Now you might be good because you know that you might take losses eventually, so you're gonna properly risk. But the signal takers are gonna be like, yo, I've been making good trades with this man, let me just go ahead and risk 50% of my fucking account. And that might be the one trade that you actually take an L on. So it's not your fault. It's just the person that took the signal didn't have proper risk management or mindset.
Yep. I had to realize that when I first blew my account multiple times or whatnot. Like it wasn't really even their fault. Like if I were to use, risk management, I wouldn't have even lost like, that much money in just 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Like it plays
Right.
a major role. I probably would have lost. If I would have had my same
Facts.
risk management I got now, I probably would lost. I probably wouldn't even lost as much. I probably would have still had some type of like break even gain or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So like it plays a
Facts.
major factor into it.
Okay, so now let's transition into the third advice, which is having a proper trading plan. So let me ask you, for your trading plan, do you have it written out?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool, cool. So that's one thing that I want to stress to everybody watching. Have it be tangible. A lot of people think they can just store shit in their brain and then they can execute on it. But when you actually write shit out and you can see it in front of you, you can act on it like a checklist. So you can literally look at it and say, dude, does this trade meet my criteria? And if it doesn't, then don't take that trade.
Mm-hmm.
But so for you, you have it written out. Let me ask you, what's on your trading plan?
So I have it set to like this is like literally my exact order with it. It goes in a legit order or whatnot. Like how you said, it's like a checklist in most cases. Like it's legit order. So the first things first is really I want to see. I go through reading articles. Like when I wake up, I don't normally when most traders wake up, they normally just like hop straight on charts or whatever. Me, I go through certain articles, and when I say articles, I don't just go through everything. I go through like with certain economies or whatnot. Like I'll look at what's going on as far as like in the U.S. economy or like in the U.K. or something like that. You see what I'm saying? And just like I really just kind of see like what the major key headlines is like for that day or whatnot for the upcoming week or whatnot too. And like I'll even go to check out more so of like just like really I want to say number one is just the fundamental part of it. So like I'll see like like what's really on the economic calendar or whatnot, and I'll see like what has happened throughout the last month or whatever that can pretty much give me like a good little confirmation or indication showing that okay, like this is what we can really expect to come to happen or whatnot. This is my projection for like these certain events. So I'll go through, the fundamental part of it, just to like, just to read through certain articles. And that's really my number one thing. And so number two, it takes a little bit of patience at the same time because I have actual certain days to where I trade too. And my days, at least, I always tell my students that like I always trade around like Tuesdays or whatnot, because that's when the actual market just really just has that full on feel. You know, those big dogs on Wall Street, you know, they don't got all that cocaine in their system anymore. They pretty much clean on Tuesdays, and that's when they act. That's actually one of the days that, it's actually one of those days to where there's actually more liquidity in the market around that time too. And so we know when there's more liquidity in the market, you know, there's going to be more like bigger moves happening around the same time too. And so I wait until like Tuesdays or whatnot to see what's really going on in the markets or whatnot to see like, you know, okay, like, so this is what's happening so far for this week. And, you know, fundamentally, and I know that this is pretty much going to happen. So I know to mark up my charts on Tuesdays in most cases. And so that's when I go through everything fundamentally first, and then I go to I'll be patient a little bit, and I'll just wait until those certain days hit, which is like I said, Tuesday. In some cases, it'll be Monday nights or whatnot, but mostly, the majority of the time, it's gonna be Tuesdays. And so I wait until like Tuesday or whatnot to do my actual technical analysis or whatnot. And of course, throughout this technical analysis process, of course, where everybody has their own set strategy, how they mark up on the charts or whatnot too. But when I see like, you know, this is the area I expected to go into or whatnot before it really just makes the actual move for that day or for the rest of the week or whatnot. And so I just, you know, when I see like where I expect the market to go to or whatnot, then that's when I go straight to my risk management set part of it or whatnot. I'll see is that I know what my risk is. My risk is 1% per trade or whatnot. So I just go back to the same position side calculator for depending on what pair it is. Now I'll just set my stop loss, you know, not my stop loss, but my lot size, you know, however it says or whatnot for that 1% trade. And that's really just how my trading plan really just is in most cases. A lot of it really just consists of patience.
Okay, so when it comes to trading during the news, do you trade before the news comes out, or do you wait for the news to come out and then you trade after accordingly?
Wait, after. If you trade
You
before,
wait
that's
for,
guessing game.
huh?
I said if you trade it after, that's more so like in my opinion, that's more so of a guessing game. I mean, no, I'm tripping. If you trade it before, like right before, in most cases, like that's in my opinion, that's more of a guessing game, which is what I really feel that. Well, it was crazy because I never really had like a losing streak when it comes to NFP or whatnot. That's really why I got more into fundamentals because I used to trade it like
Mhm.
5 minutes before it actually came out. But it took me a long time to really realize that like when you're trading it right before the news even happens, that it's gonna be more so of an actual like guessing game because nobody
Right,
really knows what those data releases are finna actually be in most cases because you can't just go based off of the forecast. You see what I'm saying? That's what people
right.
really do not understand about it. Just because it says, the unemployment, just because it says, the NFP numbers are gonna go up or something, doesn't mean they're really finna go up for that month. You see what I'm saying? And so like you really gotta more so just understand like it's like I wait until after those news events happen or whatnot, because that's when you're actually gonna see, when the actual liquidity comes to the market. And of course, every single when that liquidity comes to that market to that certain pair, is gonna always do this little simple retest in most cases, and then it'll continue going into that more so that same direction, depending on what's going on economically at the same time too. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
And one thing I want to stress to all the listeners is that don't just jump into the trade that you see having the first momentum. So let's say, NFP comes out positive and you see, the market going down, spiking down, don't jump into a sell right away because that could just be, price to behavior, mitigation, stop hunts, trying to take everybody out first before markets actually move in the proper direction. And we've seen this a lot of times. You even called this out for the last what was it, interest rate cut where
mhm.
you said that dollar was going to spike up and then it's going to go down, and it did exactly that. The dollar did spike all the way up, took everybody out that were long, and then it
Everybody.
dropped.
Everybody, that
So
initial push up front, and that even goes back to what I was saying before, like what's really going on, like fundamentally in most cases, or what it's showing on the calendars. You don't want to go strictly based off of what goes on the calendar at the same time. You really want to stay up to date. That's why, like, you don't want to get lazy. Like, that's why I always tell people, is like, you do not want to get lazy when you start to be, have confidence, and you starting to, have an actual, like, just just making real legit money, real income from trading or whatnot, you do not want to get lazy when you're doing this more so full time. Like you want to make sure that, especially if you're a fundamental trader like I am, and you know this too, like we cannot get lazy when it comes to staying up to date. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Facts.
we cannot get lazy with it at all because we really want to make sure that we're staying on top of this. And even if we do go like, a few days without it, a few days without trading or whatever, like we really want to make sure that we go back and just more so do a quick overview of like what's been going on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the biggest thing too. Like you cannot get lazy with it when you start to get get A1 with it.
That's fact because one little information that you missed could have played a huge factor in your trading. So that definitely keys. Like you said, don't get lazy. Always make sure you're doing more studying than you are trading. A lot of people they just want to trade. They're trigger happy, but you want
Yeah.
to make sure that you study more. You actually understand what's going on before you start trading. And this information that we're giving out here, guys, it's for serious traders that want to make serious money. You can do technical analysis and make a couple hundred, couple thousands, but we're trying to get you to a level where you're trading a couple hundred million billions. So that's and how they trade. So
Exactly.
that's why what we're talking about here is very important. But if you just want to stay small, then you can just trade technical analysis and still make money with that. Nothing wrong with it. But if you want to advance to the elite level, the professionals, then you want to start paying attention to things like fundamentals. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so going back to your trading plan. So you have your checklist. You look at the articles for the morning. Now let me ask you. We have Bloomberg, we have Reuters, we have Trading Economics. Do you look at any other platforms as far as your articles?
Well, you already said Bloomberg and you already said trading economics. I also be looking at Zero Hedge or whatnot too. They stay very up to date on things that are not even just like shown on Bloomberg, or they probably are, but just not like at the top of the pages or whatnot too. So I view over like Zero Hedge or whatnot. I view over CNBC and also the
Mhm.
Wall Street Journal or whatnot. Because I mean, I stick to more so things that's happening in the U.S. or whatnot too, just because it's such a volatile market. Also including um like the UK's market at the same time. But I mainly like to stick into what's going on as far as like the US markets or whatnot too. So I'm really just mainly sticking to like Zero Hedge, Bloomberg, CNBC, and Wall Street Journal or whatnot too. And in some cases, maybe even trading economics. Trading economics was actually in the beginnings part of it was actually where I used to just understand like what these certain fundamental, micro and macroeconomic terms actually more so meant, because they actually give out the definitions of them and whatnot too, and also
Right.
like the overall, trends of them or whatnot, or like so the overall, like where they've been at in the past type stuff or whatnot too. So like that's really just my main sources though, to be honest. I get
Okay.
notifications from Bloomberg and CNBC and Wall Street Journal every single day as well.
Right. The same here. I love it because it's like breaking report, breaking news, and you already have it right at your fingertips. So
Yes,
it's
sir.
not you get everything right then and there. Okay, so you look at your articles, and then you look at the economic calendar to see which economic data is going to come out. So that right there kind of gives you what day you should hop on and actually look to trade. And for you, you said that uh, because a lot of economic data does come out around that time, and markets do pick up a little bit more midweek. Uh, so that's good. Okay, and you have your trading day, you have your article that you look at, you have your risk for every trade. Do you have any other confluences that you look for before you enter a trade? Okay,
Um,
let me ask you this: what are your confluences that you look for technically before you enter a trade?
I look for it technically.
Yeah.
Now is I do want to, as far as you said technically, so that means what's on the chart. So I want to say like, um, I want to see if it's gonna be able to hit a certain area, because I can't really just go full on in depth or whatnot like on this actual call, like how the exact plan is or like how the strategy is or whatnot. But I do
No, no,
like
of
to
course.
wait. I do like to wait for the actual, like, for the market to go to a certain area, because how I mark up on my charts is more so simple, at least, because like I
Oh,
want to make sure it goes to this certain, a certain area at the same time too. I do trade based off of certain type of zones and like based off of like Fibonacci at the same time or whatnot.
Right.
And I like to have three confirmations or whatnot at the same time too. As far as like on the technical side of it, at least I want to have at least three confirmations or whatnot before I actually just hop into this trade or whatnot, because I can see that it can hit a Fibonacci level or whatnot, but if I don't see like another full on reason that's like why I expect it to be here, like if it's not like an actual price area, like a certain level or whatnot that I look at, I go by certain numbers on my chart at the same time too. And so if it's not at
Right.
an actual certain specific level or at an actual area or whatnot that I have more so shaded as like
Hmm.
maybe as like a zone or something, then I'm not gonna just full on hop into that same trade or whatnot. So I have to have at least like my certain three confirmations on my charts or whatnot.
Right. So important advice to all the listeners. You can get your market sentiment from fundamentals, but you got to make sure that your confluences from a technical analysis perspective line up so that you can get a proper entry. Because like we were talking about earlier, you can have the right directional bias, but you might enter a little too early and end up getting stopped out just because of those stop ones or stuff like that. That's why it's important to wait for a price to get to those certain zones. Wait for your confluence to line up, whether it's looking for certain market patterns or fib retracement levels or key levels, whatever. However, your strategy is that comes to technical analysis, it's important to incorporate that with fundamental analysis as well. So, is there anything else that you have in your trading plan that maybe the average trader doesn't?
Stick to certain pairs, literally. Like
Gotcha.
those certain currencies or commodities or stocks, indexes, whatever, like whatever you trade, and even equities, whatever, like whatever you're trading, like just stick to it. Actually understand that market on a fundamental basis, and actually start to understand it on an actual technical basis too. Look, when you can mix up those fundamentals with the technicals or whatnot and trade it however you want based off of your trading plan too, and just be patient, then like you're set. You feel me? You're Gucci. You set like for real. Like I have
Facts.
I have one of my students makes about probably like 4 figures a week in most cases, and he only trades gold, not gold, but oil or whatnot. That's his main pair. Sometimes we'll trade UCAD, but we know that UCAD and oil pretty much like have a opposite correlation or whatnot.
Right.
But
Facts.
he mainly just sticks to like oil. Me personally, I'll mainly trade gold or whatnot. Use our trade gold, and normally I'll trade like the S&P or whatnot, just because I more so know how it is more so fundamentally and even technically at the same time. And I'll just stick to trading like GU or DJ in most cases, just because I actually know those actual markets fundamentally or whatnot. So
Right.
like stick to those certain pairs at the same time, just to actually just like know what it is you want to trade or whatnot. Know what it is you're really just digging into or whatnot.
All right. That's lit. Shit, man. I mean, I think we just gave like $1 million nuggets on this call because this is stuff that the average, mentor or trader wouldn't talk to you about. Um,
Exactly.
this is
Literally.
this is stuff like like what we're talking about here is literally what's gonna help you like evolve in your own trading lifestyle. And
Literally. That is almost that simple, yo. For real, for real. You just gotta really just stick to it and be disciplined with it.
big facts. And the thing is that it takes time. Like you can't expect to get rich off of one trade overnight.
Oh
Like you
yeah.
literally gotta, you gotta put some time behind your work.
Literally, yo. Like how I look at it too, yo. Like, I mean, this is just in my opinion though, but like because I'm all about account growth at the same time too, and like how I have it set now, at least of how like my overall plan is too. At the end of the month, is whatever profit I made for that month, I normally try to take out about like 25% of whatever my profit was for that month in most cases, because I don't want to just take out like if I were to have like a $5,000 account, and let's say I made like like I don't want to just stick to a certain set amount or whatever in my account or whatnot. Me personally, I like to have that bigger account grow, because as you grow your account, and even when you're have that just certain set, like I said earlier, have you had that certain set risk management or whatnot too, to where like your gain is supposed to be 3% and your risk at 1% or whatnot. On a smaller account, it's not gonna seem like a lot, But when you had like that $1 million account, at least, you know,
It
3%
makes a
gain,
huge difference.
crazy. You feel? You know what I'm saying? Like not crazy, but like that's like that's some serious shit. That's like $30,000. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts.
the bigger your account gets, the more your money you're gonna make, even while you're disciplined with your own trading plan. You know what I'm saying? So like
Facts.
that's why I'm all about like account growth or whatnot too. I always ask my students like, what's your goal amount that you want to see in your account? Sometimes they say like 100K, sometimes they say like 10 mil in some cases or whatnot. So I'm like, yo, just continue to build up that same account to where you get to where you want to be at or whatnot, and just like, just be able to, just trade it like that or whatnot. Whatever profit you made, just keep it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. And that's something I tell my students too, because it's like I understand that for the average person, that for some people, man, they can't even get like an extra $1,000 a month. You feel
Yeah.
me? So because they work a regular job, they got bills, they got whatever, and they can't even save an extra 500 to $1,000 a month. So what I like to tell my students is like, if you want to grow your account faster, you can start with a $500 account, $1,000 account, whatever. Is as you continue to make profits, and this is considering that you have the right habits, you have the right knowledge. I tell them, you're like, yo, and keep throwing in an extra $100, $200 into that same account so that you could grow it, from both ends. So not only are you growing it with your profits from the markets, you're also growing it by supplementing, an additional income to your account so that you can get it to, a 5-figure, a 6-figure account to where you don't need to fund it anymore. And now you can start to see, higher returns. And it's at that point that you can then, start to go do what you want to do.
Yeah,
Because
that's how you make your own savings account, yo. Literally. That is legit your own savings account
like,
with
and
your
what I'm trying to do
own
is that
interest.
big facts. And the thing with that is that what I like to tell people is that, yo, look, the average person probably has a monthly bill of anywhere from like, let's say $5,000 a month. Let's say you're single, or even if you're married, you got a $5,000 a month, expense, right? If
Uh,
you were able to get, grow your account to $30,000 to $50,000, and you only did 10% a month, that's three to $5,000 right there. So that right there can easily, pay for all your bills without you having to stress about trying to make, 50% return in a month or anything like that. It's only 10% a month. So now if you had a $300,000 to $500,000 account, that same 10% is $30,000 to $50,000 in a month. Like you're good. You feel me? Like for
yeah,
the average person, if you're making 30 to 50K a month, like you're good. Like you can quit your job and you can go travel the world. Like you're good. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Like I always be telling, like even up front when like when some of my students start to actually make, be consistent with their profits or whatnot. At least I always tell them like, like even if you're working a job, yo, like don't quit that job even as soon as you're starting to see, consistent profits with it or whatnot. Like until you're actually, I even want to, me personally, I want to say, at the very most, if your job's income isn't 25 at the very most 25% of your total income, that includes like from other sources like trading or drop shipping or whatever, like don't quit that shit, yo, for real. Like nothing's ever guaranteed until that becomes like to where it's like chump change compared to your total income, yo. Like there's nothing wrong with being able to stick through it. Like some people been working at their jobs for like like 4 or 5 years or something like that. You feel me? And they starting to make actual income with trading or whatnot. And maybe like trading becomes like 50% of their total income, and the other 50 is from their job or whatnot. If they quit their job like that, they just cut out an entire source of income or whatnot. But until like they can if they were patient, working at whatever job it was for like 3, 4, 5 years or whatnot, they can be patient for like a whole nother 3 years, yo. Like the goal for it, yo, is to think about it for the long term. You feel me? Like
Facts.
nothing's ever short term, yo. If you want to have financial freedom comes with time, and time goes a long way. You feel me? So you got to really be patient at the same time and just understand the fact that you know like you're not gonna see financial freedom within a week. You feel me, or a month, or even a year in most cases. You see what I'm saying? Like it's gonna come. It's just, you gotta be patient with it at the same time. And like even if you like in some cases, I mean, I remember I seen you made a post. It was a great post too. At the same time, I remember you said something about like if you would have had put in $1,000 to an account, yo, and make 10% a month. After about 5 years, that account will be at about 300,000 if you just kept all the money in that same account or whatever, or just, did whatever. As long as you're making at least 10% a month in that same account, that would have been about like $304,000 or whatever in your account, like your whole entire broker. And I'm like, at that time, then you can damn near, start withdrawing your money out. Because if you're sticking to that same 10% a month, then that 10% of 300K, that's what, like $30,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a factor of being disciplined and being patient at the same time, to where you're gonna really, that's when you're really gonna see financial freedom from just trading just at least trading by itself or whatnot. And the good part about it is that not only will you be able to see, your own time freedom, you're gonna see a massive amount of income, you're gonna be able to travel more, blah, blah, whatever. But you can also be able to start multiple projects, start multiple businesses, multiple investments. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole entire goal with it. You just got to really be patient with it. You're not going to see this, overnight or in a week or in a month type stuff, even in a year. You see what I'm saying? Like, it takes time overall type shit, for real, for real.
And I agree with that 100% because I mean I quit my job back in March of 2019. But when I had a job, like I used to work from 7 in the morning till like 3:30 in the afternoon. And I think that it's good to have a job when you're trading, simply because when I had a job, I couldn't look at my phone all the time. So on my break, I would see setup, I would enter the trade, and then when I went back into work, I couldn't look at my phone. So it helped me not to worry about the trade or look at the trade. So when I do get out of my job and I look at my trade, like I'm usually in profit. Whereas if when someone that doesn't have a job, they enter a trade, they have all the time, they're gonna be stuck watching the charts. So if they go into a little bit of a negative flow, they start getting anxiety and they start closing out their trades, they start doing stupid shit.
Yeah,
That leads into a lot of bad habits.
a lot of them, yo, a lot of them. And that's where,
That's why it's good to have a job while you're trading because it's gonna give you more structure throughout your day. Like sometimes now that I don't have a job, trading for me at this point is like it's boring. You feel me? So it's like so it's at that point where it's like I literally have nothing else to do. Like honestly, like I'm doing this podcast, like the Zoom with you right now, simply because for one, I was bored and I saw your post and I said, yo, you know what? Like I would love to do this with you because for one, I know that I could learn something from it and other people could learn something from it, and I'm also bored, so it's like why not? So you feel me? So it's now when you're bored and you don't have no money, it's like you can't really do shit. You feel me?
can't do
But
shit.
when you got money and you're bored, you can actually go out and you could do a lot more stuff. You could travel. Like I'm on a road trip right now for 3 weeks. So it's like you can actually do a lot more shit. And another perspective that I wanna touch on from what you said earlier is like if you start $1,000 account, you trade it for the next 5 years, you grow to 300 to $500,000. Put it this way, right? Like the average person goes to school for like what, like 8 to 12 years to be a fucking doctor,
Exactly.
and they make what, like let's say they make 600K a year. Not only do they have to go to school for like 8 to 12 years, after they get out from school, they have to pay all that money back. Plus, they have to deal with the stress of dealing with patients, having all of that knowledge. It comes with a lot more responsibilities. Whereas if you just focus on trading your account for 5 years, you're still making a doctor's income without having to have all of those responsibilities or stress and different factors. So
Exactly.
a lot of people are like, man, I don't want to wait 5 years. Like I know I got it. Maybe both of us, we get a lot of messages on Facebook or Instagram, and people are like, man, how fast can I become rich, or how fast can I make a certain amount of money? And it's like they don't. You can already tell they don't have the patience for it.
Exactly.
But what most people don't understand is that time is gonna pass you by anyways. So you might as well start putting in the time and putting in the effort because 5 years is gonna pass you by anyways.
Exactly, yo. Literally. And like just like how you said, people go to school to be doctors for like, 8, 10, 12, whatever years or whatnot. Like you gotta think about this too. A mass majority of Americans by itself, go to school just for bachelor's degree. That's 4 years by itself, 4 years wasted. And, from what I've, heard about school at least, on the first year, you're not even learning, what it is you went to school for in most cases. And so,
Right.
like, you're already, I'm not going to say it's a waste of time, but like, you're already, pretty much being patient as to getting your actual, or forcing yourself to be patient or whatnot when it comes to, getting a bachelor's. And the messed up part is the fact that, about 50% of Americans already only make about 33,000 a year. And this is 50% of all of America. You see what I'm saying? Not even really just that's even including a lot of these people that have bachelors or whatever degrees type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like 33,000
Right.
less a year. You feel me? If you're willing to actually like, let's just go with your scenario or whatnot. If you're able to, build up $1,000 account, 10% a month, and build that up into a 300K account in like 5 years. Not only is that around close to around the same amount as like a bachelor's or a master's degree or whatnot, but you're making that salary, the average, salary for 50% of Americans in a month. You see what I'm saying?
Yup.
And plus, you don't have to pay back shit. You don't have to pay back anything at the same time. You feel me? So
Facts.
you make not only did you really dedicate your time to gain patience and discipline to a legit plan, but now all that's paying off at the same time. Once it hit this certain area after like about 5 years, you feel me? Let's say they wanted to get a little bit further into it to get that doctorate with it, to that doctor's degree or whatnot with trading. After about like 10 years or whatnot, I did the math on that shit. That's about like if I'm not mistaken, that was like a $10 million account, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere close to that. And like just sticking to 3% a month, like 10% a month or whatever. Like that's a fat bag. You feel me?
Man,
Like
you can make 1% a month on a $10 million account.
that's
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 a
that's
hundred.
that's a salary. That's more than what Americans even have in their entire savings. You feel me? Like literally, just overall at least, because they tell you that they're only making this much amount, but they're not saying how much people really make after the cost of living comes in place. You see what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
when you're really just dedicated to it, when you really put in that hard work for it, like hard work pays off, yo. Legit shit. Like like I'm in the army right now at least, but I'm at that point to where like I only go 1 week in a month with them or whatnot. And in some cases, I have certain times where I actually can miss those months or like those certain months or whatever. But I don't work a job either. You see what I'm saying? Like it feels good to you. I'm 21, yo. I can pretty much do whatever I want to. I can learn whatever I want to. Like I legit, like you said earlier, yo. Like when you get Gucci with it, it becomes boring. But it's that boring that you can do on your own time. But it's like that boring that you cannot stop doing at the same time either. It's like being in a marriage type shit for like after a long time. When you get married to somebody, normally y'all gonna like it's gonna be like a not really not factually, but normally people end up being like, I don't want to be around them all day. You feel me? Like they're not,
Right.
don't be married couples around them each other like all day, every day type stuff. That's exactly how it is for trading, yo. After a certain amount of time, we get to that boring phase of it or whatnot. It just gets that exact time to where like I don't want to be around it. I don't want to just trade all day, every day, blah, blah, whatever, but I'm gonna still do it. You see what I'm saying? Just because I want to. You feel me? And I'm gonna still
Facts.
secure this bag. You feel me? Like that's exactly how you really want. That's how you want anything to be. Whether you're trading, whether you're drop shipping, whether you're doing sales, network marketing, whatever you're doing, yo, like legit shit. Like you want to have that pat. You want to have that passion for it up front to where it becomes boring later on, but a marriage type of boring, a good type of boring. You see what I'm saying?
A good tough boring, right? And that's key because real trading is supposed to be boring. Everybody,
Yeah.
everyone chasing that adrenaline, that high is not really trading. They're gambling.
Oh yeah. Always. We see this 24/7. I know you do too. It's 24/7. Literally, like
Facts.
even look at like all these guys are on Wall Street type shit. You can even look at some of these movies, yo. Like what do they do on what do they normally do on their downtime at least? They're not looking at charts, they're not looking at, too much on the charts or even like barely even fundamentally or whatever. Like they do whatever they want to do. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the entire goal with it, yo. You don't want to be on this shit as much, but you know that when you go to it, you're gonna make, a shit ton of money. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the
Facts.
entire goal with it, yo. For real, for real. Hey,
And and,
real, for
and the
real.
thing and the thing is that we're not telling you guys not to work a job or not to go to college or school. You can do all of that and still trade. That's a beautiful part about it.
It's just like it's especially like people that are in college too, or even that work a job at least. Like the biggest excuse, and I say excuse because it is an excuse. The biggest excuse a lot of people have is the fact that they say that they don't have enough time with it. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? People always say
Hmm.
they don't have enough time with it, but you got to think about what are you currently doing that's making you not have as much time. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, like when people say they don't have enough money to start trading, what are you spending your money on that's making you not have enough money? What are you spending your money on that is not going to be worth shit, or is an important, or is not an important expense that you can cut back on? You see them for like the next few months or even like years type shit. You see what I'm saying? Like what is not important? You see what I'm saying? Like anything is possible, yo. Legit shit. No matter how much you're working at the same time. You feel me? Like you even said it your damn self. Like when you was at work or what, when you used to work a job, you used to have those, like you used to set your trade in, and you be at your, then you end up going to work for like, a few hours. You wouldn't even be looking back at your charts or whatnot, because you gotta be on the job. You see what I'm saying? Then when you get off, you can go back and monitor your trade, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm in profit. You see what I'm saying? Like like there's nothing that I don't down talk anybody that works a job, yo. I don't down talk anybody that's making actual income at all. You see what I'm saying? As long as you're making some type of money with it, it's really what you're doing with your time and what you're doing with your money. That's really the biggest thing. I'm gonna really just it's crazy. I'm gonna say it, but what I'm gonna really just judge you on or whatnot. What you're really doing with your time and what you're really doing with your money. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the
Facts.
biggest. That's the biggest thing that people really just have to understand to really just succeed with anything they're doing.
Facts. I agree with that, bro. Um, I mean, damn. I mean, we touched on a lot of different topics on this call. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap this up, or anything that you feel that you want to stress the importance of, or anything?
You said stress the importance of. I was damn near finna say something about the recession, but I want to say that's probably gonna be like a whole nother topic for another day, though. Honestly, but
I think we can do like a part two of this. I think you know what? I think if we get enough attraction on this call and a lot of people like it, I think we can drop a part two where we start talking more about the economics and recession and taxes and a lot of other things that you and I both have an interest in. We can start talking about it on the next one that we do. That way we can keep this kind of short and focus on trading with this one.
yeah, that part two gonna be nasty. That part two gonna be. They better engage. That part two gonna have some gems in that one. No lie.
All
Some gems.
right, cool. So just to wrap this up, man, we got Drew Sosa. Where can people watching this find you?
They can find me on my IG there. They can find me on Facebook at Drew Sosa, DREWSOSA, or they can find me on Instagram, Drew with two W's underscore Sosa with two A's. Or on Twitter, Drew with two W's, Sosa with two A's. Simple as that.
All right, lit. All right, guys. So for those of you guys that are watching, go hit my man's up. Go shoot him a follow. Go talk to him because like Drew, like yo, I ain't gonna lie, you're one of the few people on my social media that drops value like on a consistent basis. You feel me? Like there's a lot of people that drop basic quotes all day, but you actually drop thought provoking concepts and ideas and theories and actual value. So for a lot of you guys that are watching this that don't follow my man, go ahead. He puts out for free is shit that people actually charge like 5, 10, 20, a whole lot of grand for it. So you'll definitely get a lot of value from his page. And I hope that everybody watching this, actually got some value from this, learned something from this. If you guys have any other additional, you can hit up Drew. You can hit me up at I Stand Tall on Instagram or Stanley George on Facebook. And we can definitely have like a part two later on. So is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap this up? Or are you good?
Get your bags up. Get your bag. Do your research. Do your research. There's plenty of sources out there for you that's free at the same time. Utilize your free resources, and that's all I gotta say.
Big facts. All right, guys. So, hey, Drew, man, I appreciate you for hopping on this, bro. I appreciate you for answering all the questions and you feel me dropping on the nuggets, dog. I really appreciate it, bro.
For sure, man. I appreciate it for getting on this, John.
No problem, man. And thank you to everybody that hopped on this and watched this. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to Drew. Feel free to reach out to me. And let's do it, bro. Let's evolve.
Let's get it.
All right, big dog. You have a great day, man.
You too, bro.
Yeah.